I'm getting the sense that we've just boarded a ship together. And I'm really feeling this energy of calling you all aboard, this discovery adventure of making love, of bringing the distinctions that we have and discovering what is archetypal love. How can you be holding spaces of archetypal love and you're relating? And it's an experimental space, a space for us to be sharing what we discover in this book, how it is unfolding at us, and going deeper into this question of how can I love? How can I be making love in my relating? And even thinking about this question today, we were talking about like, oh, what is love? It's like, oh, these questions are just enormous. And to be bringing this book as a tool for this research and discovery together, I feel really glad to be having this common experiment with each of you. And so in this space, that is what we will be doing. We will be reading from the book and discovering together, line by line, how this goes and discovering the wisdom that is in this space. And so one of the purposes of this space is to be bringing the experience in your own life and your own relating, and not this question of what is love and as an intellectual sense, but how is it really going in your life? What is showing up in your relating right in this moment in this space? And so it's not about experimenting tomorrow, but what is happening here? And what is it that you do discover, and bringing that research back into the space? And here, these ways of how it's been going, how you have been relating is at risk. And I mentioned it in my post that this is a pulling the rug out from yourself process. And in this space, you will be doing that with yourself and using this tool to create that with each of us as well, and holding that space for all of the people here. And that's really the experiment that I want to be going on with you, that adventure of what is it that I'm holding in my relating right now, and how can I pull that apart so that something else can grow? And so I'm looking to you each as my team to help me discover what is the old thoughtware that I'm still clinging on to, and how is that creating the love that I've been having so I can be stepping into something new. And for that, I need you aboard this ship. and I feel so glad that you are here. I don't know if you knew that was happening, but the sailing has begun. So,
I'd like to invite each one of you to bring yourself into the space before starting the reading of the book, as a way to bring your energy here and share a couple of words of where you're at this moment in regards to this exploration in relating and lovemaking. And we'll move from there.
I am Lisa Maria, and where I am is I have not made love or had like sexual intimacy for over a year, and I'm doing the White Widow experiment. So I haven't been relating with men either since October. And it's something that I'm really fascinated and interested in, and something that I want to create. one day when I relate with a man again. That's where I am. It's something very fascinating. I wrote it in the group. Sex has always been very performative for me and also very adapted to the person I'm relating with. I'll be scanning them constantly and kind of adapting myself to how they're reacting to try and get the most love or the most approval, or yeah, it's a way of trying to get loved or be loved, to feel that connection and feed the fantasy of this like romantic fairy tale love story. And so I haven't been able to like really let go and really like inhabit my body 100% and really be present, and a lot of it is as well, it's usually too fast for me and I'm not really noticing that it's too fast for me, and so I'm not attuned to myself, I'm attuned to them. And so yeah, I really want to practice becoming more tuned into my energetic body and to the more subtle energies, and being present with myself and going really slow and giving myself a chance to really like open and blossom and look after my seed and my garden and really see what's in there. And I'm really excited to do that. There's something there for me. Like I've recently felt this big attraction and like this knowing that there's so much more there to be discovered. And there's something that's really on fire for that in me.
Thank you,
Thank
Lisa
you.
Maria.
Thank you.
I'm Dawe. Where I'm at is I am wanting to move into this territory of fear, where my partner Meredith is a really vast reservoir of love, and I've been afraid of receiving it. I've been afraid of loving her fully. There's some old thoughtware of around I'll get lost in love somehow. And that's what I'm confronting, the ways that I sabotage and do not use my fear consciously as something to fall, it almost as though I'm afraid of falling into fear. I'm afraid of falling into the reservoir of love that I see available.
Because could you say like what's the fear that
Yeah,
makes you
it's an old thoughtware of that I'll just get lost. Similar to the old map of joy, where if I feel too much joy, then I'll go crazy. It's something like uh, I will get lost, and as a man, I have to keep my space separate from the love of a woman, or somehow I'll be in like this gray, this vast swimming pool.
thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Vera. I wrote also in the Telegram group. I'm here to unfold different new possibilities and ways to express and unfold my being in the sexual domains also, but more than that, in love, and how can I unfold more in love? What other dimensions of love can be discovered? And yeah, I've been practicing a lot of really focusing on being here on Earth. I used to have this big survival strategy of wanting to get to life, like rushing to finally get to life. And now I'm appreciating what I've been missing of really being here, starting from I'm already there, I'm already here. And what else can I do and explore and discover?
Thank you, Vera.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bruce.
Will go next. I'm Sonia, and there was a big part of my life where I was very disconnected with the way that I would relate with a man while having sex. And I was crashing this very heightened sensitivity, because somehow I got the sense that it would freak out the man I was with, or yeah, the man I was with. And so part of me being here is to give more and more space to what's actually alive in me, and explore the questions of how is it to be with a man while being alive while being in integrity with what's alive inside of me at every moment. Being alive with my impulses, and to this part of my being that I haven't actually quite explored. And yeah, this is what I'm bringing into the space.
Thank you, Sonia.
Thank you.
Sonia.
Hello, I'm Tamara, and I feel so much fear to be talking right now in the realms of the most powerful energy that I know, which is sexuality. And I've always had the necessity to find out more, how to engage with this huge life force that in me wants to express, and for the last months and maybe even years I've suppressed due to fear of not really knowing how to manage it or how to give it the space beyond beyond interacting through stories and fantasies with the person that I wanted to engage with sexually. And in my experience relating sexually to, it has been vague in a way, not kind of in a way easy to engage, but not giving the space of the profound connection that I have been desiring to hold and to be with. And I'm just fascinated. I'm fascinated by sexuality, how it creates life, and how it creates everything. And I want to use it responsibly. And that's why I'm here. And I feel very vulnerable. And I'm glad. I'm glad to feel this aliveness right now in this space. Thank you.
Thank you, Tamara.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I noticed my microphone was muted. I'm speaking from New Zealand, and what bring me here, one of the questions is alive while listening to you. It was this, what I'm exploring recently. What does it make difference, the relating that I have with Leonard, with you, Leonard, than with another people? Like, what is this idea of romantically relating? And then one of the answers that I got was, okay, I sexually relate with you. This was one of the distinctions that I found in reality. It's like, oh, what does it make this really different? So this question is percolating, is keep cooking in me, and I feel a lot of fear about being here speaking about making love and sexuality, because for until now, or like I from what I learned, it is something to keep in private, like it's some private topic, or it's something to that happens in four walls. And I feel fear of speaking about that and sharing the experiments in an open space. I feel scared because of that connection that I have with, it's dirty, it's wrong. I've been exploring that there's some connection with sexuality, and even that I changed the name making love, in the core I still relate as sex. So I read the book with Leonard, I think in November, was when we are together. So now we are like, I think 6 months physically away from each other. And what I've been discovering is that the fact of not having physical and sexual intimacy, it's bringing a lot of edges in how to relate and discover other ways of creating intimacy. Like, I don't know, reading a book together, or watching a movie and talking about, or creating spaces to go deeper. So this intimacy in other bodies. So I want to go really to reality of where I am about that. Even that I put making love in the core, I feel that I still relate as sex, as arrive in some place when I'm experiencing it, of wanting to get rid of the energy, like having an orgasm, like this orgasm chasing thing. It's so present, and or using it also to withdraw love. Like I don't know, I noticed that when something is happening, I want to create a wall and go distant, because I want to withdraw myself. So yeah, there's some of the things that is on alive on me. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Gabriela.
you.
Thank you.
My name is Devin, and I actually learned about the book from David last summer. And at the time we were talking about the book, we also watched a film called Bliss that I think both this book and this film suggested a possibility of a kind of space holding, becoming a kind of space holder as a man, particularly in the domain of sexuality. And I thought it was a great. I was inspired. I was really inspired. And when it came time to practice this, I was totally incompetent to really sincerely practice anything I was inspired about. And the longing to practice that hasn't faded or gone away at all. But I have some kind of reality about just how the different, that there are mechanisms in me, patriarchal stuff, wanting to get something, a lot of things that I'm less capable of navigating than I won't say that I want to gain just way more ability to navigate. And mm, there's something else just about coming into a mixed space, because I've spent a lot of time in mostly men's spaces the last several months, which has been somehow important for me in healing and in falling apart. And I'm I want to be in this space because it's not that, because there's really coming together of men and women to go through this and experiment. I feel scared about that and glad about that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm Leonhard, and I'm also very scared to speak about this topic with you. I usually don't speak with anyone about this topic except Gabriela. And and it's not only like that this topic is it's not something to talk about. It's also life inside of me. But there is some deeper fear behind that, that is like, what if it reveals that I'm not performing good enough? Like when I talk about and make it visible, like how it is to be with my partner in a bedroom, then it comes up this, yeah, I have to perform it in some way. This kind of thought where is alive inside of me. When I speak about it, you might find out that I'm not enough or something, or do something really shitty in the bed or something like that. And I am here with this question, but what I figured out so far when doing the experiments of the book is I got to some point where I really enjoyed of what Barry Long suggested, to be in service of a woman as a lover. And I could notice that, and at the same time it's a really a thin line of when I want to be the good boy, the to be safe, to do the things like the woman wants it, like you wanted to have, and then being in the safe space, like, oh, okay, she's happy, I can relax, and everything is all fine. She will stay, you will stay with me, Gabriela. So this is really like a thin path. I can sense it, but it's somehow entangled, and I want to explore what is really the difference in mesh these two things. Thank you.
Thank you, Leonard.
Thank you.
I'm Hannah, and I'm here because I want to research desire. Like, what happens when I am with my partner and I feel the desire to be sexually intimate with them? Like, what is that? Because I suspect that a lot of the thoughtware is pretty outdated. And I notice, for example, that one of the things that turns me on is being desired. And I'm like, what's that about? What is like, yeah, what, like, that's a genuine question I have, is what is that about? And like, what is my purpose
then in engaging in this. And I don't think I have clarity on what my purpose is actually, other than pleasure.
Thank you for the question, Hannah.
Thank you, Hannah.
Thank you,
Mhm.
Hannah.
My name is David, and now my research it's a lot in how it's to make love in pregnancy and after the birth, and researching this amazing territory with sexuality. And yeah, more concrete, I'm like with the question and observing the fears that comes to me when I'm starting to have like to make love once a day or twice a day, and the fear that comes in me of if I will be able to hold this energy, if I will be able to be really for the love that my partner is opening and the lost. And yeah, I was feeling myself like escaping of the contact when it becomes very intense, like when we start to really practicing and doing it more than once a day. For me, like it's amazing, and I start to escape somehow. And I'm with this question, why I think there are other things, other answers of why we are not getting every day to create this love together. Yeah, I think this is the main thing for me at the moment, and I'm super happy of meet with more people to research this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, David.
I'm Beth. I'm researching well, I really don't know because I haven't really had sexual relationship in a long time, and I went through menopause, and so and I also see these ways in which like sex in such a big way was a survival strategy for me, which I feel really sad about and scared about to say right here. But just looking at my survival strategies of being adaptable, always being available, and so not really having a real sense of where I am when it comes to sex. And there was also this survival strategy of using sex for closeness. And I think that's mainly the main one. Like to me, that was a way I could be open and I could be tender and I could feel close to the person. And so I was using it. I was using that as a way to feel close and to make sure that I was loved and that the person would not go away. And now I'm just also in this other phase of my life where my desire is completely different. And so I'm interested in this book because I know that it's just from the short conversation I had with Meredith, it's like offering a completely different perspective and kind of doorway into relating and into lovemaking and sex. So that's why I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you, Beth.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My
Thank
name
you.
is Mary, and the truth, I'm here because I'm in the house, I'm in the bridge house, and I saw the woman organizing for being in this meeting, and how I'm not understand well English. I asked Vera, what's happening in the house now? And she told me about the book, and I said, I will be there, and she told me, will be English. And I said, okay, I will be there because I can feel something extraordinary will happening. And I feel glad when I listen you, because I can feel like we will share secrets. And when I finish this meeting, I will try find this book in Portuguese for be with you. Is that?
Thank you.
Thank you, Daniele.
Thank you, Daniele.
My name is Laura. I I started reading the book some months ago with Kian and stopped when Barry was encouraging to practice what was being written. And I didn't go beyond that point, and I didn't start practicing. At the time, I felt really scared to do that. And what I did do at the time was to see what sexual desires I have, and even if they were patriarchal or coming from patriarchal survival strategies, and not make them bad or wrong, and to bring what I'm wanting into the relational space. And I noticed that I hold back what I feel angry about and what I want. And actually I feel really turned on by being more this like the submissive role, like being submissive. And then as it evolved, I started to bring my anger more into the sexual relational space, and being really like angry if I didn't feel comfortable in my body, or if something wasn't working for me, and bringing it fully in. And it really worked to start opening what I want, and to be like, God, I want to feel amazing right now. And it really worked. And I want to continue exploring this, I don't know, the realm, and feel joy about doing it with all of you. A joy that I'm slightly containing. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you, Laura.
Laura, what is making you contain your joy?
I feel scared about my joy. I feel scared that it could be gremlin joy, or my gremlin will take it. Yeah, and it was happening just before I came into the space and in the space, because it's the first time or more or less the first time I'm being in a mixed space with men, and I could sense that there was this joy happening, and I'm just scared of it. Like I want to contain it. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Olivia, and I'm here because I heard about this group this morning, and I'm glad I did, and I'm glad to be here because about 3 months ago I entered into a quote unquote romantic exploration, and have been called into like a queen making space. I'm currently when it comes to sexuality, I'm currently in the exploration of how do we create intimacy in our other bodies without depending on the sexual aspect. And part of that is from just noticing patterns in my life of diving right into like penetrative sex right away, having that activate a lot of like hormones and attachment hormones and behaviors and things of this nature. So I'm currently in this holding this container of experimentation around what is it like to not do that for the first year of getting to know each other. How do we really make sure that we're compatible in all of the other ways in all of our other bodies before creating that strong bond of penetrative sex. And I'm also in a place of exploring other, because the sex is not the core of the relationship. There's definitely a lot of other things coming to the surface that I think sex can kind of numb out for a while. So I'm currently discovering and discovering with the man in my life that, what are our expectations? How do those expectations fall into, how do they interplay with this kind of sexual energy? And how to get really clear on those things. That's where I am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Olivia.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Before we start reading the book, I want to introduce a couple.
Wait.
Meredith.
Not everyone
That way,
has
I would
spoken.
like to share.
Ah, you didn't share. Okay.
No, I did not. My name is Meredith.
You're smiling
I'm
and it's a fake
smiling.
smile.
It's a fake smile. Thank you. As each of you were sharing, I was feeling this contact with this well. I wrote about this a little bit, but I feel this force, this tremendous well, and it feels like possibility, and it's connected to my sexual energy and to my capacity for love. And it feels huge, just so huge. And I'm afraid of it. I'm afraid of what happens when I really, like, what would really happen if I let all of it up. And so I find ways to block it. And it comes out sideways. And in my sexual relating, I do a lot of making what's happening good enough and finding a lot of positivity and pleasure, and then I'll switch to the other side of trying, of using my anger to get somewhere, to receive something, to try to negotiate, but not really be so clear. And it's like I flip-flop in between and find this energy of settling in myself. It's like I'm blocking the energy and then convincing myself this is what I want and this is okay for me. And it's really blocked also by this fear of like totally devouring. It's like I feel like I could sometimes just completely devour you, Dawe. And oh, that's scary. I can't go close to something like that. Where is that coming from? What is this? My gremlin is this? And so I'm really feeling this flip-flopping between high intensity and settling. And so I want to explore what it is like to use this energy and to stop the trying games of blocking or getting somewhere. And so that is why I'm here.
Thank you, Meredith.
Thank you, Meredith.
Thank you.
A lot of people spoke about hiding, that somehow the realm of romantic relating, intimacy, sexuality, sex is something that is in four walls. And for this group, which is really about empowering each other to discover new things about all of these territories, the distinction is to put it on the court. So if you're watching a tennis match, there's really two types of people that are in the stadium. There's all of the fans and the people watching, and then there's the people playing tennis on the court. And so you can either be in theoretical exploration and say, I'm scared of so-and-so, or I have this survival strategy, and keep it just in that realm of, it's a survival strategy. Or the other way is to really put it out on the court? What is the actual experience? What is actually happening? What is the actual heartbreak or the actual wonder, the actual ecstasy? So I'd like us all to use our conscious anger to help each other keep it on the court as much as possible. And as we're reading through the book, to also use your conscious anger, your conscious sadness, your conscious, all of your feelings to just stop us when we are reading, and anyone can read, but to just say, hold on, this is what I have about what Barry just wrote. These are my distinctions about it. Okay. I propose we read not from the beginning of the introduction, but from the first line of the first chapter. I teach man and woman how to be true to love and how to be honest in their relationships. I help them discover a divine love beyond all sexual imagining. The key to the mystery of divine love is to see love as it is and not as you think you know it or like to imagine it. I stop because I don't believe that there's not already something in someone here.
Is there a PDF version of the book that you can share? I've ordered a physical copy, but it hasn't arrived yet.
I'm gonna send it to you now.
Thank you.
Will
Would
you
you
post it on
send it to me?
Say that again?
would you upload it in the group?
Yes, I will do that right now.
Thank you.
I'll reread it. I teach man and woman how to be true to love and how to be honest in their relationships. I help them to discover a divine love beyond all sexual imagining. The key to the mystery of divine love is to see love as it is and not as you think you know it or like to imagine it.
Dawe, could you could you read as if you're reading for a group, like with your voice a little bit more out, so that your words land in me, please?
Thank you. I teach man and woman how to be true to love and how to be honest in their relationships. I help them to discover a divine love beyond all sexual imagining. Beyond all sexual imagining. The key to the mystery of divine love is to see love as it is and not as you think you know it or like to imagine it.
I have something to share about this part of seeing love as it is. I've been experimenting of watching some movies with Leonard and researching our construct of love, like this, how I think that love is. And one of the movies that I watched was You Before Me. That is one of my favorite romantic Hollywood movies. And what I found there about my construct was that love has to be hard. Like to love to happen has to be hard. So this is one of the connections that I have with love. And
when
you
you
say
hard,
something?
yeah, when you say hard, you mean painful or something else?
Yes, I mean like yeah, painful, but painful can be any feeling. It's more like it has to have sacrifice. Like I need to be far away. Like I need to create in the movie, for example, there is this death thing, that separation, and that aliveness with the adrenaline of being distant and then seeing each other again. So I've been creating this with Leonard in the last 2 years. Like, I don't know, we are 6 months and then we meet for 1 month and then go away for 3 months and then we meet for 2 months. And so something like that. But also with people like that, I not just romantically, but I need to sacrifice something. And when this man says about seeing love as it is, I think this for me brings already a big challenge of like how to see love as it is, when most of what I'm seeking is love and attention through all unconscious stuff that I do. Um,
Who else here also has that love has to be hard?
Love has to be hard.
It's something about suffering. There's like and I wrote it when I introduced myself in the group, this fantasy world of the hardship that comes to gain the worthiness of being loved. It's almost as if this is a hero story where there's a compensation at the end. It's like that sort of thing.
Who is the hero in your story? Is it you or is it the other person?
It would be me in my story. Yeah, that's the fantasy world that I've discovered. And researching through memes, one of the biggest ones that I found in my old thoughtware was that love equals suffering, or even harder ones like love equals torture. And this comes from a huge culture of romanticism based on low drama telenovelas in Latin culture, where I was born. That's what I found out.
I think I have the opposite story, which is that love should be effortless. If there is strife, if there is conflict in the relationship, it's because something is wrong and we're not actually meant to be together. It should be like frictionless, like ice skating.
I have the same.
Me
And
too.
and actually my fantasy of love then causes the low drama, because it's that Meredith should be so attuned to me. If this is really love, she should be so attuned to me that she can read my mind, and she should know immediately how to reach my heart. And so she's not holding good enough space for me. She's not in love with me. It's not love. And it totally sets everything up for failure.
And I think you can have both. This is what I've been exploring, is this ambivalence of, yeah, it needs to be effortless, otherwise there's something wrong. And there's nothing wrong. My addiction to chaos would cause it to be wrong. So then I strive and then I overcome, and then we're closer together. And so it is possible even to have both in the same.
I'd like to share something that just came to me as this question was brought up about thoughtware. It's like I'm in this moment getting to know more of a man, and I'm really enjoying knowing him and talking with him. And just before this call, Meredith and Dawei asked me, why did you invite him? And I said no. And then we explored for a little while what was the block. And then Dawei asked me, but will you? And so I did. And he just said yes. And I noticed that my first reaction was, I was ready for him to say no, or for him to say, to make up some kind, I don't know, to say no, I don't want to do that, I don't want to go there. But it was so easy, and I was like, I don't know what to do with this. This man is saying yes, and it's just easy. And so the thought where for me is I'm the man will have a no for me. The no comes first. And so this yes was still so destabilizing that I'm still like, my box is still freaking out a little bit.
So your thought was, if like the man has a no first, so then it would be, the survival strategies would be, I have to fight to have a yes, and like I have to struggle also, or how would you get a yes?
Not what I got was that I the yes contradicted this thing of I am wrong and I am not enough. I cannot deal with the yes. I actually did not want the yes, because that goes against this thing that I'm not enough, and that I'm wrong.
Thank you.
Thank you.
To me, the phrase love as it is difficult, because for me, love, the word love, is such an invitation to stories, like could be disempowering stories or empowering stories, but like, how can I speak about reality when I speak about love? I did once the experiment for 1 month to not use the word love at all. What I found out is that I can describe my experience much more precise. This word love was for me like a fuzzy word of 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 not getting really what is happening. So for me, it's really difficult to read this line as it is.
And I want to add that when you stopped saying, like, I love you, or I loved that you, ta-na-na, from my side, I just, like, I could discover more facets of you. Like, I don't know, I think once you said something about my hair, and I have this huge resistance, like, I don't want you to speak about my physical body. Like, don't say anything about my physical body. But in that moment that you said about my hair, and you did not use like, I love your hair, but you describe something of what you're noticing, I cannot remember precisely what, I opened up for receive that, because you were more in contact with reality. So this experiment of not saying I love you, I love that, it was so cool. I appreciate it.
What I'm getting is that when Leonard puts that in I love, it's about him. And when he's painting a picture of your hair, he's actually seeing you and appreciating you for what you're radiating. And it's like, it's not to please him or for him to possess, but it's who you are. And wow, what a sight. Thank you for sharing that.
Think we read?
Yes,
Who's the
I
next
go.
reader?
Me. This book is for partners who yearn to reach the truth of love in themselves and each other. By attentively reading what I have to say and then practicing it patiently and steadfastly over months and years ahead, you and your partner can discover a more real, a more divine love. It is not easy to get it right, and sometimes you may feel it's a hopeless task. But by reading this book, you will always be reminded that your love has purpose. Without purpose, love is hopeless, as you already know, or you would not be reading this now. As you can see in the world around you, love on this planet is a dreadful mess. But in this book, I'm going to show you the purpose of love and your individual place in love or life on earth. I'm really stopped by this phrase of, and your individual place in love or life on earth.
Yes, we do.
As if, yeah, as if he's suggesting that to be on earth is love. Can someone say this in a different way?
Will you read it again?
Yes. But in this book, I'm going to show you the purpose of love and your individual place in love or life on earth.
What it comes to me, and I connect it with the other sentence, which is without purpose, love is hopeless. It comes as this meeting where love happens. If it doesn't have a purpose for something bigger, what's the point of it? It becomes ordinary. That's what I have. It's just,
What is your purpose?
what is my purpose? In what? In love? Or-
Yes.
Well, the first thing that comes to me is that when I have this longing of creating something or building something with someone, and having this conversation about what do you want to do? What do you really want to do with your life, with this force that's running through your veins right now? And I'm not talking about, I want to have a house, I want to have a car, I want to have money. No, not that. And so I noticed that the purpose when I'm getting to know someone, this is the longing that I have. But I have not declared it in a conscious way, in a clear way. So this is my purpose when I'm creating love with someone. Even the women in the bridge house, this is my purpose. And that's what moves my conversations. That's why I'm here in this study group. That's it. Create something bigger than myself.
Thank you.
The cause of most of the unhappiness on earth is that men and women have actually forgotten how to make physical love. This is the greatest tragedy of all time. The forgetfulness has been going on and is slowly getting worse for so many thousands of years that it's now a tragedy for the whole of mankind. This means that only the individual man or woman has any chance of starting to correct it. There can be no mass solutions. The problem is too personal and too deep. Everybody has to do it for himself or herself, or it can't be done. I suggest you read this book again and again. Each time you will have new insights into love. And of
Gabriela, will you
purpose.
read the last paragraph again?
Yes, I will.
And will you read it a little bit slower?
The whole paragraph or the last line, I suggest.
The last paragraph.
Okay. The cause of most of the unhappiness on earth is that men and women have actually forgotten how to make physical love. This is the greatest tragedy of all time. The forgetfulness has been going on and is slowly getting worse for so many thousands of years. That is now a tragedy for the whole of mankind. This means that only the individual man or woman has any chance of starting to correct it. There can be no mass solutions. Problem is too personal and too deep. Everybody has to do it for himself or herself, or it can't be done. I suggest you read this book again and again. Each time you will have new insights into love.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a couple tears down my face. I don't know why, but I'm just speaking. I think it's about the line from a couple paragraphs. Practicing patiently and steadfastly over the months and years ahead, you and your partner can discover a more real, a more divine love. And then you will always be reminded that your love has purpose. And the question comes up for me of what purpose does love have? And I think what's coming alive in me is something like that the purpose of life is evolution, and the purpose of life is also love, and maybe love is evolution. And somehow this thing of practicing over the months and years ahead, that somehow that is purposeful to me, to be evolving my love.
I think that also relates to this idea, like read the book over and over again. And it's so not what I'm noticing, it's so not outcome oriented. Because if it's like a cyclical thing, like you keep reading the book and you like, okay, I feel scared about that months and years ahead, because I'm seeing this patriarchal part in me that's outcome oriented and being like, well, I want the how to. And so I feel scared about months and years ahead, and also touched by it. Like, oh, it's a decision to like live a different way. It's actually just a decision to be like being with somebody and being in life in a totally different way. And it's endless. There's no outcome or landing where it's like, okay, now we have this. So
Thank you, Beth. The distinction I get from what you say is that the context of love is outside of outcomes, or outcomes is totally outside the context of love.
mm-hmm.
I'm struck by, when I read the first sentence of this last paragraph, that the cause of most unhappiness on earth is that man and woman have actually forgotten how to make physical love. That I have a sense of being able to maybe just barely sense that the accuracy of that, or that it's true. And and I can't quite go there all the way. Is that really, could that be? and that he's very clear about physical love, that he doesn't say energetic love or like love in a conversation, but physical love, that this would be the cause of most of the unhappiness.
Devin, I think it's a wonderful invitation for all of us to try that experiment to take this context on. I get what you're speaking about, that you can sense the accuracy of this statement, and at the same time it's so far outside our existing context. And so I'd like to sincerely try that context on for myself.
One of the things that bring me so liquid in a woman's lab that happened here in New Zealand 3 weeks ago was the physical love, the physical touch. It was a space we had a lot of experiments with that, and while holding emotional healing process, using physical touch and discovering the meshment of physical touch with neatness and with safety and with invading space. And one of the experiments that happened there was we will go with the impulse without asking, and then we will say no. We will commit to each other to be honest and to say no. But the first we will try. And this created such a container of experimentation. And I reached this wound of how in modern culture the separation happens in these physical levels, like this idea of nuclear families living in a house in different spaces and babies sleeping separate from mother. So I think this starts so early, in an early age of the separation of the physicality. So I feel sadness about, when I read that sentence of the manifestation of the separation between us in that physical level. And then all the layers that comes with it, like for example, sexual energy with a survival strategy. So I noticed that I used to touch people to really feel safe, to calm down my fear, and have that. And I feel fear because since I entered in PM, this is like blaming PM, but what do I really want to say is that I noticed when I started to go being more aware and present my physical body, I started to filter more. So I stopped to experiment, and there is a value in experimenting and being aware at the same time.
Say the last part again. There's a value
in experimenting while being aware at the same time, while noticing and not numbing in the feelings from the noticing. But it's stopping experimenting, stopping trying out touch and things, because might be your gremlin or might be my gremlin or might be contaminated, doesn't is not an experiment that has not supported my evolution.
and it kills the aliveness and the richness that is there to gain more material to keep unfolding the potential to evolution and transformation. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Woman's basic unhappiness, her perennial discontent, is because man can no longer reach her physically. Her emotional excess, depressions, tearful frustration, even premenstrual tension, and the conditions leading to hysterectomy and other uterine problems are due to men's sexual failure to gather or release in lovemaking our finest fundamental female energies. These extraordinarily beautiful divine energies are intense and exquisite, and when left untapped in woman, as they are now, they degenerate into psychic or emotional disturbances and eventually crystallize into physical abnormalities. The womb gives birth to all things. Any words on this?
This is so outside, like this, like really shakes my box. It's like, could it really be so? Could this really be so? Am I willing to try this thought on?
Meredith, would you be more specific? What you're shaking your box? What is this?
That my unhappiness could be due to a man not reaching me physically. And that it's not all under my control. That I can't do something different, that I can't transform something else and fix my unhappiness. To the thought of I don't know what word to even use, but surrendering, giving in to a man holding that for me is the most, it's terrifying. Like, and it almost causes him like, okay, am I weak? Like it brings up these thoughts of, yeah, I'm out of control.
Meredith, I sense that there's a slower, energetic way of you relating to that sentence, and that there's an even deeper level of fear or sadness or something associated. Would you, you're almost a little playful about talking about it. Would you connect to the gravity of what that sentence might mean for you and tell us about it from there?
Yes. I feel all of the energy that I've spent trying to make things okay with this sentence. And
I don't know what that means. I don't know what that sentence you just said means. I'm sorry. Will you?
yeah, like telling myself stories that I can do, like in my relating, I can do this and it will fix something. I can be more clear about what I'm asking for in sex. I can do this. All of these things that I could be doing to fix the problem. And I feel like this is asking me to let go of the show that it's asking me to let go of that show.
What makes it a show, Meredith?
It's not working. If I could, well, I think it's about me controlling the space. If I can just control the space in a certain way and get what I want, then it will be okay.
Is it crashing a show or a fantasy?
Both, but I think the fantasy is a deeper layer. And I can sense that there's really a deeper level of heartbreak there, and I'm blocking it right now.
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
just, do you know that this sentence is true on some level?
Yes, I do.
Me too.
Could you say more? Also you, Sonia, about it?
Yes, it's related to my big initial sharing that I was containing a part of me that my sensitivity while lovemaking throughout my entire life. Like it was something very wrong because the man I was with could not deal with the expression of it. And it can come out in several different ways. It can go up to a point where I go into a trance and I start saying things that I don't know where they are coming from. And after my divorce, I had the chance to be with a man that could actually begin to hold space for that. And I really sensed that I was just stepping into I was just scratching a surface. And it's really, there's this part that happens in lovemaking that wants to come through and is not finding a place where to come through and to just move, to just have expression, to be, to exist. And I just have a sense that it's much bigger than having sex. And as I was reading this part of these extraordinarily beautiful divine energies are intense and exquisite. And when left untapped in woman, as they are now, they degenerate into psychic or emotional disturbances and eventually crystallize into physical abnormalities. I've discovered 4 years ago that I have fibromes in my womb. I know this is part of it. It's clear for me. I cannot contain as much energy as that and not having a consequence. So the womb gives birth to all things.
Thank you, Sonia.
Thank you. Thank you, Sonia.
Thank you.
I want to add on what you said, Sonia and Meredith, that I can feel the truth, the part of the truth in that sentence, and I can feel also the huge resistance of let it in. And for me, the resistance is when he says man's sexual failure to gather or release in lovemaking the finest fundamental female energies. And it's this huge fear of, well, so I'm dependent on men to do that. What if men never can reach that place? Will I not go there? So I tapped into this sadness, or first is fear of depending, and then there's this part of me like, I don't need men. Like I don't need men. I don't need. I'm not dependent on a partnership. Then when I read and it's like, what he's not saying that I need, but there's something possible. There's a possibility that I might not experience. And there's this huge fear of being independent of men to go somewhere that is activated in me.
Yeah, something comes alive in me around this, around like it's kind of paradoxical within the PM context, because everyone is encouraged to be responsible for their own life, radically responsible for their own life. So there's something kind of strange about this paradox of like seeing that and being in the radical responsibility context, but then also having this same sadness come up, because I think a part of me is also recognizing the truth of what he's saying, but then it's like, okay, then I think the sadness comes from, okay, if men can't get there, we go down together, we all die together, we all go into the nothingness together. Yeah.
Can one of you who has shared that this resonates about man's sexual failure to gather or release in lovemaking her finest fundamental female energies, can you share how that goes for you in more detail? Because I don't.
I have a proposal, Hannah, which is that you share more, that you keep talking about what that's like to not know what that means.
I feel angry. Yeah, I feel anger come up because there's a part of me that is like, this is what is this is a load of crock. Like, what is he talking about? And
what is that? Load of crock?
Shit.
Okay.
And yeah, I want to know, like, I'm feeling anger because I don't feel clarity right now I don't have clarity right now about how man is failing to gather or release in lovemaking her finest fundamental female energies. And I feel fear about continuing this conversation where people are sharing, this resonates or this lands with me. And then we're saying, okay, so great, cool. We have like some kind of evidence for the truth of his statement. And I don't have that evidence right now.
Hannah, are you saying that you feel met in this way? That you feel man can reach you in these divine energies?
Yes, I do.
Can you say how that goes?
I feel fear. Yeah, when I am making physical love with someone, with a man, I'll be more specific. I have experienced when making love with my ex-partner, Tim, a a quality of attention and devotion to my experience that
Hannah, would you be more specific? Like, what is it? He gets you off first every time. Can you really go into the details and bring us in what it's like for you? He's bringing his attention with you. What else?
I feel honored and seen. He will state the things that he sees. Yeah, it feels very, it's very edgy right now for me to be like sharing these things in a public group context like this.
Yeah, and Hannah, you have a key to something. You're sharing something that, I mean, so many women in this space are crying because they don't feel met, and you're sharing that you feel met. And so what you have to say is precious to this space. And I also know that it's scary. And so I do invite you to use your fear to go there.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, and I feel fear about like I'm going to share my experience and someone is going, oh, I just realized what time it is. I need to leave at 3:30. I feel fear that someone's going to be like, that's not your finest fundamental female energies. So that's present for me also. I propose that I come to the next study group with a meeting or that I write in the group or something about this.
I'd like to hear about it.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Hannah.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Hannah.
you.
Thank you.
And yes, we are already at the post meeting ending time. And there's so much more I wanted to hear. I wanted to hear more about what you were grieving, Meredith, and more from you, Olivia, also. And so my proposal is to write these things or to record these things in the Telegram group also.
I need
Thank
to
you.
go. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye,
team.
everybody.
Bye
Thank
for
you
now.
all.
Bye.
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 Thank you. Thank you.
Meredith and Sonia, will you stay on for a minute?
Yes.